Midicake ARP just got an immense upgrade, and it's absolutely free. This video will take you through what's new and what's great, and why you should grab your ARP right now and install the update. Stick with us to the end of this video and we'll show you some of the incredible things that you can do right now with Midicake ARP. We were looking for a way to make more out of ARP's already amazing modulation capabilities. We wanted to enable more complex modulation changes without it becoming too complicated. So we simply added two new ingredients: pre-modulation and post-modulation. But what does that give us? The answer is time. Each of these parameters set a period of time where the modulator is not active. They turn off the modulation. It might seem counterintuitive, but in fact, it enables you to build many more modulation shapes. Here's an example where we add a modulation, but we use post-modulation to only enable it on every other bar. You can use these parameters for all kinds of automation techniques: build-ups, fills, single-step changes, and even polyrhythmic patterns within the modulations themselves. Further extending modulation, there are two new shapes: half-square and inverse half-square. These allow you to set a single unchanging value while the modulation is active. It means that you can now automate a change in a value at a specific time. For example, here we set the time division to 4 steps, but we set the modulation to change this to 8 steps. Then we sequence this to be on the third of every 4 bars. These examples don't even begin to scratch the surface of what's possible with these new feature changes. The modulators can now also be pushed beyond their limits by setting the amount of modulation to greater than 100%. It allows you to build many more interesting shapes beyond the basic ones that come with ARP. For example, let's modulate the velocity of a sequence and see what happens as we increase the amount. And this can be done with each of ARP's modulation shapes. Of course, as before, you can use two modulators to target a single aspect of the sequence, the same parameter, meaning you can have two different modulation shapes applied to the sequence at different times. The same change has been made to ARP's pseudo-random sequence modulator, allowing you to push the effects to have a greater impact on the parameter value. Here, we're using the effects amount to control the amount of chop applied to a sequence. Details of all the changes in V7 can be found in the updated user manual, along with extensive examples of the ideas and theory behind things like modulation sequencing. The changes to modulation add a heap of new possibilities with only a few small changes. While the effects of long and layered modulations can be hugely complex, ARP's interface makes setting them up a breeze. You can see how these simple changes have added even more power to ARP's sequence generating capabilities, and there's still more to come. But first, please hit the like button, because that simple act helps us build these fantastic features into ARP for you to enjoy. With ARP's amazing MIDI engine, we simply had to expand its capabilities beyond just MIDI note sequences. So, we added continuous MIDI CC output. Essentially, ARP has become a MIDI CC LFO machine. There are two new parameters under the MIDI out button that allow each ARP track to target a specific MIDI control change number and set a default baseline value. This means that you can use ARP to control the sound of your external synthesizers on any CC number, be they hardware or VSTs. You can assign a macro to the CC value parameter and use it as a manual control. And this extends ARP's previous macro CC assignment feature to allow any CC number to be controlled. The real power comes when you set CC value as a modulation target. Now, ARP will create a continuous stream of CC value changes driven by the modulation sequence. You can use this to modulate any of your external gear, DAW or VST controls. Imagine automating the filter cutoff, for example, of your favourite synth, perfectly in time with the music. And you don't have to sacrifice a track either, because ARP outputs both the note sequence and the CC modulation at the same time. You can also use multiple modulators to target the same CC number, allowing for very complex modulation shapes to be created. Try assigning a single macro to CC value on 4 tracks and change 4 things at once. Enabling MIDI CC as an output for Midicake ARP is something we've wanted to do for a very long time. With a few simple steps, you can create marvellous music, and it truly integrates both the melodies and the sound control of your instruments in one place. We've also found time in V7 to add a couple more upgrades. Rhythm and groove patterns can now be assigned as the target for one or more modulators. This means that you can automate changes to the rhythmic pattern of your sequence using your own rhythm and groove pattern designs. To see how this works, let's set a simple modulation to cycle through the rhythm patterns. And with groove patterns, we've increased the number of modulation rates that are available. This greatly extends or shortens the wavelength of the modulations. You can now choose from 1 clock tick to 256 bars, enough for anyone except perhaps John Cage. We've applied the same change to effects repeat times too. By popular demand, you can now configure ARP to let you select parameter options in set mode using the up and down buttons. This is accessed by a new global option called up-down behavior. Set this to navigate so that the up and down buttons select the parameter option and don't change the value. Then, to make parameter value changes, just use the knob control. You can now select to view MIDI messages right here in ARP. Press and hold the load reset button for 3 seconds to enter the BIOS menu. Select Note 2 to view the MIDI log and use up and down to view the last 100 messages. Both incoming and outgoing messages are logged here, and it's very useful for checking your MIDI routing setup. Lastly, we made a small change to the function of the stop button. When ARP is running, pressing stop once will halt the sequencer. Notes with long gate times will be played out. Press again and a MIDI stop all notes message will be issued, and the playing notes will cease. Press it again and a MIDI stop all sounds panic message will be issued to stop all sounds still playing on any connected synthesizers. This change simply resolves MIDI loop scenarios that can occur when connected to certain devices. I'm so happy with the new features in V7 that I'm not even going to conclude this video, I'm just going to go to the park. So what's exciting you most about the new updates? Please let us know in the comments. Also, like and subscribe, and tell your friends about the new updates on social media. It's only through spreading the word about ARP that we can support all the great new features that we give you for free. If you have any questions or suggestions for us, head to our forum or contact us directly at midicake.com. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next update video.